Oh, you got the love. You got my love. Don't misuse it. All right. Hey, welcome everyone. This is Groove Swing Speaks. Hey, I'm so excited because we do this thing each and every Tuesday on this network. What? Ah,
Hey,
no.
baby, how you doing?
Oh, we're not doing that now, Vicky. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Okay, this is Groove Swing Speak. This is Groove Swing Speaks right here on this network. Hey, speaking of Vicky Beaker,
Yeah, yes, that's talking is the after hours session.
yeah, we'll talk then, Vicky. Okay, all right, hold on. Okay, all right, yeah. Anyway, back everyone. Welcome. I was about before Vicky interrupted. I was about to say I'm so excited about this because we bring this program to you each and every Tuesday. That's Groove Swing Speaks, and I believe that we bring a valuable asset to our community because we provide information that is useful to a lot of people. We bring on professionals from all walks of life. You take from medicine to architecture to finance, to business, politics, you name it, and we bring it here because it's all intertwined in this network. What network is that? That is Groove and Swings. Now, we also have outside guests to come in from other organizations or no organization at all. We just want to showcase the best and the brightest in our community. And with that said, I want to welcome my panelists here. I see Tiffany Hilliard. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, brothers, and hola to my sisters.
Yes. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're back. I know last couple of weeks you were out on assignment, taking care of some business. I understand that. So it's always great having you here. Brother Clayton said he might be able to join us. I know he has some other things that he had to take care of as well. And also Tanisha, she will be with us next week. She will not be here this week. And Brother Robert Hicks. Hello, my friend.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Buenos dias, buenas noches, bienvenue. Programa. I would say because here's the thing, because groove and swing are international.
Yes.
Because we want to be able to get to everybody around the world, and we just want to bring you all into our talks wherever you are around the world, because our topics here are prevalent around the world, here in the United States and around the world as well. So we want to invite you in to talk about and hear about what we do here. And please listen up, keep your ears open. We want to be able to give you all the best.
Yep. And share this with a friend. Thank you, Robert. I really appreciate that. He's right, because this is an all-inclusive network, and we share information that goes around the world. If you have some friends outside the United States, hey, they can get that. They can get the app. They can download the app from the Apple App Store. They can download Studio.w. Android is simply Studio W. Available on Google Play, Apple CarPlay, Alexa. And if you enjoy this broadcast, you will hear it again in about 24 hours. It will be up on the website. Just go to studiow.buzz, studiow.buzz. Also, it's up on YouTube right now, live, and we also archive that. It's on Facebook and LinkedIn. Without further ado, we want to bring on, we got a very special guest with us tonight, and we're going to let him tell us his story. I've got Dr. Shanoa Huff. Dr. Huff, how are you, sir?
All right. Good evening to everybody. Good evening. I'm doing great. I just had my niece just cooked some chili. So it was delicious. So I had to change shirts, sauce all on my shirts. So I'm ready now. I had to make sure the stomach was full.
That's no problem. Send Tiffany and myself a plate, okay?
I got you. Next day deliver.
You got a smile on your face, so you must have a full stomach and you're ready to go.
Yes,
hey, we want us. Thank you so much for coming on the network. We started this back in February. Robert, how many shows have we had? 30 some odd shows so far. I know we started the middle of February.
Right, we did start in the middle of February, so I believe we are about episode number 36.
Okay, that sounds about right. We'll go with that anyway. And so, Dr. Huff, thank you so much for gracing Network. This is, we feel that all of our shows are important because we have guests that have knowledge, experience, and also wisdom whether it's in business or medicine or whatever. And you bring your own expertise, and we want you to tell us about who is Dr. Huff and what is it that you do, because I understand that you're the president and CEO of your own organization. So enlighten us.
Yes, sir. A little bit about myself. I'm this, of course, I'm part of Groove I Groove Social Fellowship Incorporated. I joined the organization in 2007, spring 2007. Correct. I want to correct myself. A little bit about myself. I worked in mental health. Oh God, for over 18 years. Worked in mental health for over 18 years now. I'm in part-time. I'm actually an instructor at Southern Crescent Tech. I teach phlebotomy and depending on the semester, I'm also teaching medical assistant. About my nonprofit, Brothers About Business Incorporated. I started it in 2006, but I kept it kind of quiet for some years because I had to get me together first and foremost. I feel that if you're going to run an organization, you have to make sure that you're together. And like they said, with anything, the head has to be together. So I kind of kept it on the sideline for several years, and then the Almighty said, "Okay, it's time for you to step out on faith with this." And actually been really out there doing it for the last 6-7 years and loving it. I'm actually active in Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, I'm always out doing community service with the DFAC's office. We just did, and we partnered with some of the brothers in Groove I Groove. We did something with the at the MLK Center, and it was called the Beloved some Expo or whatever, but it was real nice. What can I say about Brothers About Business? At the end of the day, we're out there to serve the masses because we don't have opportunity to reach out to so many different populations. And mainly the unhoused population. And also recently we have been dealing with the reentry population as well. And do y'all know anything about the reentry?
No.
Population?
No, I don't know anything about that. Please tell us.
So the reentry population is the ones that are returning for being incarcerated.
Oh,
they
yes.
They go to these different programs. So we discovered about the reentry programs maybe about 3 years ago. And that is something that we are passionate about as well.
Okay. So,
well,
yes. There's so much to unravel there, to unravel, because you do a lot of things as far as the community is concerned, and I think this ties in perfectly with the program, because you're there on the ground. You have boots on the ground. In other words.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
you're not just sitting behind a desk, and sending out newsletters. Well, I'm sure that you probably do something like that also, but you're out there actually doing the work. You're talking about the unhoused, you're talking about the reentry program. And so we talked a little bit also that you are very much involved with your community. Now, we've been talking over the last several weeks about how important this election is to us. And I want to take that from the local level, then we'll go up, because I think that the local elections, or your state or your city, your county elections, I think it's underrated. People really don't pay much attention to that. You have a fair amount of people going out to vote for the president and the vice president, and and so forth and so on. But besides those two at the top of the ticket, people really don't understand who's on the rest of that ticket. So let's talk about the ground up and how important it is to get the right people so that programs like yours can work.
So for me, and like you said, it's very important that we have to look at the local officials and your county, your state, and whatever. For me, like prime example, I'm considered a community health worker. I'm gonna tell you one way that's gonna affect me if we get I don't want to say the wrong person in office, but I guess I have to say the wrong person in office. For me, as being a community health worker, we had a situation where we was trying to lobby where we could be voted in to have different benefits or whatever to help out to stay in the community and be the liaison between the officials, the local officials, and the people in the street. So to me, how that affect is, and what, so I'm trying to get clarity. What are you basically asking me on my end?
Yeah, on your end, I want to know how important is it to have the right people in office? What do you guys do to make sure you educate the community on this is what we need to do? And if these are the things that you want, these are the people that you really want to vote for. Now, I'm sure that you guys don't go around and say, hey, you got to vote for this person, vote for that person.
Right.
Vote. Get out there and vote. And if this candidate is giving you or talking about the things that are of interest to you, that's who you may want to pay attention to. So I want to find out with you and your organization, your crew, your staff rather, how are you educating the people that are responsible for the vote, for their own vote? Okay. How do you get that information out there to them?
You know what? To be honest, like I said, I'm not big into the politics, but I will say this. It's always end up being a discussion somewhere at some conference or some meeting. And I think just sitting down, having that discussion, I think that's the best way of promoting. Like they said, word of mouth. When you sit down with individuals and see what they're thinking, what they're processing with this election, I really think that's the best way of promoting and seeing a general idea. Okay, well, hey, let's have a debate. Let's have a debate about the situation, a friendly debate, not that where we're going to sit out there and just get into a rumble or whatever. Just sit down and have that debate. So for Brothers About Business, because we're out in the community and we're out here in the community where they say they don't care about voting. They don't care about who's going to run. They just caring about what makes, I guess, a system program that is out. So well, those type of people, you have to really sit down and have a conversation with them.
You know, I tell you what, and I understand people say, yeah, well, I don't care about voting. I just want this. Right. But they have to also understand in order to get that, then you got to put the right people in place so you guys can have the funding to do what you want to do. And I'm glad you brought that up. Let's see, Robert just put up something. We'll read that in a second. Georgia Mayor, let's see, people in Georgia is major in this election. Keep Georgia on your mind. I agree with you 100%. So yes, Tiffany, I want you and Robert to jump right in because people don't understand. Well, I don't care. I just want this. I want my rights. I want this and I want that. We want more funding. We want something for our community. But they have to understand it starts at that local level where you put the right people in place. Tiffany? We just lost Tiffany for a second. Tiff?
Oh, no problem. I'll go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Philman, Dr. Sharon, for being on the call today. I want to say, importantly, because Georgia has really been a state that has been pretty much have swayed elections left and right. Because especially from the standpoint of Georgia has usually been a stronghold for one party and it flipped to another party. So the question is here, what have you done, or say, for instance, people in the community have done to be able to make sure that your vote really matters? Because everybody seems to be focusing on Georgia at this point in time.
How can I say? And it go back to what I said earlier. We could only get out here. We can promote every day. They're sending out different texts. They're sending out, of course, on the commercials. They're doing their best to on a broader scale or whatever to just let people or just share information with people. But for the most part, and that's what I shared with y'all earlier, how for me and the people that I deal with is mostly discussions, because you can have all this information out and they can walk straight past and don't care anything about it.
Mm.
So the way that we do it here is, once again, we sit down, we have discussions. We have discussions about who's running. We have discussion of why they're running, and just things. What can they benefit in the future of being in a different position? And like you said, for the local officials, people sleep on local officials, and that's sad. But I know I can't. I have to be politically correct while I'm on here, but
no, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm gonna say one of the counties, prime example, the local officials in one of our local counties, prime example. Yeah, they put out the signs. They have their little different little gatherings, and they have the what is it called? What they have not your debates and things of the nature like that. Well, what I'm saying is, it's difficult because, like you said, with Georgia is one of those states that is there's certain people in a certain position that can sway people. So it's, as I call it, it's politics out here for us. It's really bad. It's really bad this year. So that's crazy. Why you have to be mindful. You may hear a lot of people from Georgia may be like, yeah, and that's why you have, in our honesty, you have a lot of people, middle class and lower class people, are saying whoever, whatever. They just don't even care. They nonchalant about it.
And that is the tragedy too. I'm gonna toss it over to Tiffany in a second. Guys, okay, we really need to wake up. Okay, we're not telling you right now who to vote for. We're not telling you that. But what we're saying is that you cannot complain that you do not have this, that, and the other, okay, if you're not part of the process. Part of the process, you have to understand that these things take funding. Dr. Huff, what you do takes money. It takes funding. It takes boots on the ground, okay? Now, I don't know whether you have, is your organization nonprofit?
Yes, nonprofit.
Okay,
yes.
So for nonprofit, a lot of nonprofit organizations, there's grants that you can get out here to keep your program afloat and also do things that would benefit the people that you're trying to serve. My point is, and I understand that people, yeah, you're right. There's so many people, man, why should I vote? Oh, right. This and that and the other. You have to understand the process that takes place when it comes to funding. It depends on who's in that chair, folks. You can't have one without the other. You can't say, I don't care about the process, but I want the proceeds. You have to understand, without the process, you aren't going to, in a lot of cases, you don't get the proceeds, and this is what happens. So I do understand that people are apathetic about voting. They're exhausted about this. I mean, because politicians will wear you out. They will wear you out, and then they find out that they put somebody in that they believed in, and nothing happens. Nothing happens because you didn't put the right person in there, or that person wasn't vetted properly. So again, I understand. Yeah, man, I just want a job, or I just want to improve my living. My quality of life. I want to do this and the other, but you cannot have one without the other. You cannot. It's just trying to walk down the street and you only have one leg working. I mean, come on. You have to have both. So it involves a little reading. It involves some work. It involves getting involved. I mean, you can't say, "Hey, man, I don't have this." Well, did you vote? No, man, I don't care anything about voting. Well, well, you really don't have a lot to say because you have to be part of it. I'm gonna toss it over to Tiffany. Let me get off this horse right here, Tiff.
Yes, I've been going back and forth with this thing for quite some time. First off, it's so good to see you, Shanora. Oh my gosh, you are a breath of fresh air. Missing you. But yeah, man, this whole election, oh my gosh, you're talking about, it has really divided a lot of people. It has. You're talking about division. I thought the election between Barack and Trump was bad. This is way worse. This is way worse. You know what I mean? And my thing is, okay, what a lot of people, for those that don't know, I am spiritual, religious, whatever you want to call it. I don't like saying religious. I'm a Christian. So a lot of people have been so gun-ho about abortion. Who's saying abortion is wrong, blah blah blah, whatever, right? I get that, and I totally agree. However, put abortion subject aside, what about funding for your public education, especially your HBCUs? What about your public housing and development? You know what I'm saying? Your economic, like, who aligns with you and your lifestyle the most? You know what I'm saying? Get it? Yeah, we say, we're not telling you who to vote for, blah, blah, blah. Let's just take the elephant out the room. Vote for whoever represents you and your household. How about that? You know what I'm saying? And if you cannot get down with either candidate for the president, take a look at who the vice presidents are. Take a look at those candidates, because God forbid, we've already seen for the first time in history where the president, something happened to the president or a major decision was made and they decided to step down, and now the vice president had to step up. So now you can't look at the presidents or whatnot and you're just like, you feel some type of way. Look at who the vice president's candidates are. See if one of those individuals more aligned with what you care about or what you believe in. So that's something that kind of came to me earlier today, and I was thinking about that thing. You know what I'm saying? I personally will want to vote for somebody that can form proper sentences.
Okay, well, we know who. Well, there's only one candidate in the race that can do that. But so yeah, and Tiffany, I think you're so right. You make some excellent points there. Vote for whoever benefits you the best, and then that's kind of easy to do. And there was a thing years ago in sales that I learned, and it was called the Ben Franklin close. It's kind of corny too. And so what happens was you say, okay, Ben Franklin, and you get people to agree, well, Ben Franklin was a pretty smart guy. Oh yeah, fine. That's what they say. That's what the history books say. But anyway, take this for instance, and take the name Ben Franklin out of it, and you do this for yourself. And you draw a line down a piece of paper, and you look at, okay, who is beneficial to me on this area? Okay, what are the pros of this person? What are the cons? Okay, is this a person beneficial here, here, here? Maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe even up to 10 reasons why you want to vote for that person. And then think of the reasons why you shouldn't vote for that particular person. And do the same thing for each candidate. And I think that you will come up with, and Tiffany, you make a lot of sense. Figure out, well, which one will benefit my family the most, okay? And there are a couple of things, Robert, that really come to mind. Okay, you think about the economy, and there are so many lies that's being told. Number one, do I want a pathological liar to lead me? Well, I don't believe in having a leader anyway. I don't believe in having a leader. Okay, there's the president of the United States. I respect that. However, do I want someone to be in charge of my family's future? That number one, if they are a liar, number one, that's a disqualifier right there. Now they say all politicians lie. Yeah, well, maybe to a certain degree, but then you have some that are tell blatant lies. And you look at this. Haitians eating cats and dogs. That should be a disqualifier. Number one, it is a stone. It's a cold lie. People are being hurt. It's costing these states, the cities and the communities and the counties, tons of money to fight against and defend your lie. Not defend your lie, but fight against what you've already caused. You talk about, you mentioned abortion, for instance, Tiffany. Yes, you have people out there lying and saying that they're killing babies after the babies are born. That's a lie. Okay, even with Roe v. Wade, doctors are reluctant. They were reluctant to do abortions in the third trimester. I knew that decades ago. They were reluctant to do that. And it was only because if the mother's health was in danger or the child's was in danger. Because you have states right now, you think about this, ladies. Okay. There are 21 states out here where there is a ban on abortion that you can't have one. And even if it harms or the mother's health is concerned. Over the last few days or so, you hear about mothers dying because doctors had to wait to the last minute to perform a procedure. No woman or family should have to go through that. That makes no sense, okay? They are not killing babies in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month. That's not happening. And like I said, again, I know I'm being redundant, but sometimes it's important to point out that no, doctors were reluctant to do that in the 3rd trimester period. Venezuelans taking over Aurora, Colorado. That is a lie. Kamala Harris is stupid. That's a lie. As a matter of fact, that's projection. That is projection because she is smart. Matter of fact, she's unqualified. That's a lie. Do you know that she is more qualified than the last 3 presidents put together in time and tenure? Did you know that? Even more than Barack Obama, even more than the Bushes. She served in the public for over 21 years, and I think it even expands back more than that when she was a prosecutor. Okay, she has more experience than anybody over the last several presidents. Okay, and you just take that other guy, 45. Okay, how much experience did he have? 0.
Yeah,
You're fired.
Actually, his very first government, I'll put it this way, his very first government position was president of the United States. I'll just put it that way.
That's exactly right. And Robert, I'll tell you something else.
I'll mute my mic right now until
you don't have to. No, you don't have to mute your mic. No, keep your mic on because then we will go right back to you. And see, not only that, people says, well, we didn't want a politician. We wanted a businessman. Oh, really? Okay. You want a businessman that filed for bankruptcy 6 times.
I thought it was 7.
It could be. I know it's at least 6. So you want somebody to run your business like that? I want to tell you something even more recent. And a lot of people, did you guys know that he also has a Truth Social stock? Do you know he's on the stock exchange? You guys know that, right?
Yes.
See,
I'm about to check the stock exchange right now for his
check
stock.
it out. When it started out, it was between 78, and I know a little bit about this because I'm a former stockbroker. It started off between $78 and $82 a share. And then it has dropped like a lead balloon. Now, right now, I think it's hovering around 16. I could be off, Rob. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And then it had at one time dropped to $12 a share. Think about this, Tiffany. You work hard every day. And you said, okay, I'm going to invest. I'm going to buy me some stock. I've got about $5,000 here. And I'm going to buy me some Trump stock. Okay, and you buy it at $70, $80 a share. Okay, and now it's down to about in the mid-teens. You've lost your money. You know that. You've lost your money. Okay, so if he can't run his own stock, how in the hell he's going to run the business, run the country? Okay, every business that he had, Trump Steak, Trump University, Taj Mahal. This guy has bankrupted 3 casinos. Okay. Now he's selling tennis shoes, trading cards, watches. Oh, and get this, Bibles. Now, let's get back. Let's get back to the local thing, Dr. Shanor and Tiffany and Robert.
Okay.
If you're going to vote and you want somebody to manage your money, who are you going to put your money in? Then you also have to do your homework when you're doing this. Do you know historically that the economy has fared much, much better under a Democratic presidency than it has a Republican? Did you know that? Did you know over the last several years, okay, there were 500 jobs, 500, is it five? How many? What do I think about? 50 million jobs that were created. No, maybe even more than that. And over 1 million has been Republican. 50 under Democrats. 51 a million jobs have been created over the last 4 or 5 presidents or so, like or something like that. Okay, and 1 was Republican. Remember when George Bush was in the White House, and he left this country in shambles, and then it took Barack Obama to build it back. You guys know that? The stock market was at 8,000. When Barack left it, it was 19,000, and Trump rode that wave up. You guys know that? Okay. Wow. Did you know that we were on and people are talking about recession right now? Because you talk about your money, the money that you spend each and every day. When you walk out of the house, you're spending some money. Leave the house, you're spending some money. Okay. Your heart and things are higher. Prices are much, much higher than they were. And people say, were you better off 4 years ago or right now? I say right now. I'm going to tell you why. Because recession didn't just start with Joe Biden. Recession started with Donald Trump. Did you guys know that? Because you have to look at the tariffs that he put on. I remember when there was no toilet paper in the grocery stores. That was under Donald Trump. When there was no paper towels, there was no baby formula, the trade embargoes. Okay, all of that started that recession ball to roll. And folks, you got to pay attention here. Okay, then it all again going back to your local communities. Just find out who is who. Your school board, for instance. Well, Dr. Huff, I think that our schools are important, our students are important. So wouldn't it be important to look at who's going to go on the school board?
I mean, and I agree with you, but here again, certain counties, certain situation.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Well, I
want you to be honest. I want you to be honest because the whole thing about education, folks, we've got to be educated. So you've got to be educated and know who does what. You look at the superintendent in Oklahoma, one of the poorest states in the union, Oklahoma. And Oklahomans, that's not necessarily your fault either, because you have a long history of nefarious things going on back there. But look at the superintendent that wants to buy 55,000 Bibles to put in schools. Number one, I think that's wrong because there should be a division between church and state. We grew up that way, didn't we? And then look at the students that's going to that school that aren't Christian. Okay? That shouldn't happen. 55,000. But see, I tell you, the kicker of Dr. Huff is that these Bibles have to have a certain criteria.
Yes, and actually, before Dr. Huff talks about, I just actually did a little bit of research.
Please.
From all the 50 U.S. states, Oklahoma, who talks about education, they are 49th out of 50.
See what I'm talking about? Poor. You've got a lot of poor people there. It's not their fault. And you want this guy, superintendent, to spend $3 million. Think about what $3 million. Shanor, I know you deal with this all the time because with what you do, it takes money to do so. Can you imagine what your organization can do with an extra $3 million? How many extra people can you educate? How many extra people can you feed? How many extra people can you give a start to?
Oh.
All right? You're shaking your head. Yeah. Come on, let that resonate a little bit. Yeah. I'm waiting for an answer here.
Multiples.
Okay. Now take that and put it back in our school system, Tiffany, where you're feeding. Now, some of these clowns also, and you know, Robert, in the poorest states in the union, do you know they don't want children to have free lunch? Children that go to school starving. Come on, let's address that a little bit. And I don't know whether Oklahoma is one of those or not, that have voted down free lunch? I don't know. Robert, I don't know if you can check real quick, see if they have a free lunch program. But think about this.
Yeah, I can check. I can check that. But in the idea of when it comes down to people, when it comes down to kids needing energy,
That's it.
to be able to go through a 6-hour day, say for instance, high school students, middle school students, elementary school students, they're basically going through not just 6 hours, just education, but also physical activity as well. You have to consider gym or whatever, or even after school, if they're doing football, if they're doing for football right now, basketball season, some do swimming or cross country. Cross country is usually all year round. So the idea of students need the ability to be able to make sure that they have the proper amount of energy, the proper amount of food, and for states to be able to say, we're cutting that out. We're not going to give you any type of food, or say, for instance, you have to fend for yourself. You got to bring in your lunch for the various different classes. For some families, they're not able to do so because they're hungry.
That's right.
I believe, and I have to do some research on this, but it's probably said that maybe about 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 students are usually hungry because they're going through economic downturn, or say, for instance, they don't have food in the house, or maybe they don't have the ability to purchase foods. It really should not be affecting of the children.
That's right.
They're affecting our next generation. Yes, understandable for us, say, for instance, on the panel who are a certain age. Yeah, we can probably not have to go without food for a period of time. But you're affecting our children. That's not good.
That's not good. And everyone,
I'll just leave it at that, just as a personal aspect, and say, for instance, something from maybe even a moral standpoint.
That's right.
People, you should have morals.
Yes, right. That's right. And think about this. I want the panel to think about this. Dr. Huff and Tiffany, Robert, as adults. Now, to me, when I go into work, when I work for someone, I look forward to lunch because a lot of times I didn't have time to have breakfast. But you need lunch, and like you need that energy. Can you imagine being a child in school? You wake up, you didn't have breakfast. You go to school, you don't have lunch, and you are expected to learn. How can you can't even concentrate properly being hungry? We can't do that as adults. But I think it's a shame. No, this is the richest country in the world. There's no child in this country that should ever be hungry. That's the least that they can do. Shano, are you about to say something?
Yes, I hear what you're saying, and all this is great. I mean, we are on here, we're talking about it, but it goes back. Like I said, the population that I deal with, it has to be something like this: a sit down, a town hall meeting, or something like that, to educate the parents and to say, hey, if a child going in there starving at school on a certain day, it takes a community.
It sure does.
Sadly to say, a lot of us in the community are not educated about elections and things of that nature. That nature.
Oh, absolutely. And Dr. Huff, that's why we do this program. And it's all about education. I mean, that's the main thing. We're not here just to have a conversation. We're here to educate the public, because a lot of people don't know what's going on. They don't know. And Robert, I'm just putting something Robert just put in the chat right now. I'm going to put that up. I'm going to put that up right here. Okay. And this is about
that's one program in regards to school free lunches in the state of Oklahoma.
Okay.
I just came across something just recently Actually, this report is from August 15, 2024.
Okay.
It literally says Oklahoma opts out of federal summer food program for kids for the second year in a row.
See, why? I mean, in summer, let's see, the schools are out, what 2 months, 2.5 months?
About 2 months.
Can you
About 2 months.
imagine? Okay. Because, see, that is the only meal that a lot of children get, believe it or not, folks. Come on, that is a shame. I mean, I don't care. I mean, we could talk about other things that are vitally important, but when it comes to our children, we shouldn't play around with that, because we're looking at the next generation. And if the next generation is coming up and they aren't learning properly, they didn't get the proper education, okay, they didn't get the proper nutrition, then what will the future look like? What does it look like? And you said 2 years in a row they opted out of the summer lunch program. 2 years,
Yes.
2 years in a row. And
Yes, indeed.
and there are one or two states that I could recall, and I'm sure there are more, and they're red states, which is a doggone shame. It shouldn't be a red state or a blue state, because it's supposed to be the United States. And I think that's his problem. That's part of it right now. We're so divided. We're dividing states now. Oh, that they've been doing that for a while. But you got black, you got white, you got Hispanic, you got Japanese Americans, Chinese American, African American. You got now, folks.
Hispanic Americans, don't forget us.
Oh yeah.
I'm part Cuban, because I can say that.
Yeah, Native Americans. I'm part Native
American. Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely. Hey, come on, folks. That's divided right there. Look at your religions. You got Baptists, Protestants, Jews, Catholics. You got all over the place. Folks, we are so divided. It's kind of hard for all of us to come together, because each sect has its own different belief system. But it should be one thing that is paramount, one thing that should be central, one thing that should be necessary for all of us to understand, is that we are all human beings and everyone should be treated equally. But you have the powers to be that want us divided, folks. You have to understand that. You have powers to be that want us divided. They don't want us out there voting. Look at what happened. Was that in Georgia was that in a town in Georgia where one of the mayors stole the doggone voting box? Was that in Georgia?
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
I can't recall, but I think so.
Yeah. And look at and they also was happening in the state of Georgia, Shanor. And this is why people need to know. Yeah, they don't want to have the conversation, they just want a job, but they're not going to get the job if we don't have this right conversation. Or they get a better job, a better paying job. Okay. All right. We need to support the unions. All right. You got to think about all this stuff that's going on. And also in Georgia, they tried to pass something I believe that's been tossed out, Robert, and they wanted to make sure that all the ballots were hand counted. Hand counted, which would take
counted. Okay.
That's quite a few states that's actually doing that. They want to be counted. Yeah, that's true. I can't speak for Georgia, but I know that is few for a couple of states. And that means that technically we're not gonna get the final answer until probably about 3 or 4 days later.
Maybe even longer than that. Because in Georgia itself, I think there's over 3 million voters in Georgia. I don't know exactly what the population, the voting population is in Georgia, but they were saying that definitely they said it would take longer than that to hand count those ballots. See, yes. This is another trick. Gerrymandering.
And also because there have been efforts, not just in Georgia, but in a few other states. I have to do some research on this, but also because in the sense of there are some states who are basically allowing people to cancel certain voters.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. North Carolina removed 757,000 registered voters.
700, and that's 750,000 people, folks. Now, I'm wondering how many of those people were black. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Out of 757,000, how many were black or non-white? I'm willing. I'm getting ready to put $5 on this. Okay, I'm getting ready to bet $5. I believe that I believe I would be right in my logic and in my guessing, folks.
And Sister Tiffany, you said 757,000 were canceled.
They were no longer considered as registered voters.
How
And,
could
the
they?
registration deadline had already passed.
See, it is so much trickery going on too. And I understand why there are so many people that are just they just threw their hands up. They throw their hands up, man. Say, it's not going to. It doesn't work for me. It never has worked for me. They don't care about us. So why should I even take my time even doing this? Now, and I can certainly understand where they're coming from, because many of us get frustrated because we can't get the goods and services that's needed.
Can I chime in for a minute? I just want to share something. I want to share something with you all, and this is why I say with Georgia and the politics here, and that's why I say I don't jump in too much into it. I'm going to give you a prime example. Ever since I was 18 years old, every time I go to my election poll, whatever, when you go to, what they call it, the election
the poll, yeah,
the election poll. Every time we go in there, now it's majority black folks over here where I live.
Okay,
we get in there, we have all these booths or whatever you do to vote, and every year, whether it's local or whatever, every time it never fails. We end up only have 2 or 3 machines working out of 13 or 14.
See,
it always fails. It always happens.
I agree.
So you talk about counting some on hand, you can't even get that part done. So that's why that's why people like, especially in my area, Clayton County, per se. I live out here in Clayton County. A lot of people just throw their hands up. They're gonna just say, "Well, I'm just gonna vote."
Right. I look here. I feel
best man win.
Wow. That is absolutely incredible. And you exactly, brother, Dr. Shanor, I couldn't agree with you more. But we have to look at also what are our options. What are our options? Do we just throw our hands up? And you're right. And there's so many of us just have thrown our hands up because they look. This car is going nowhere. Okay. It's not, this is the point of no return here. I mean, it's not going to do anything for us. Robert posted 757,000 voters cut off was about 7.2% of the 20 census
count. So basically, the idea is, especially when it comes down to shaving off a certain amount of votes here and there, it's going to matter. The idea is also listening to what the candidates are saying when they're saying about, okay, we want votes, but we don't necessarily want a certain population of votes. Or say, for instance, we're trying to get your vote, but at the same time, we're trying to oppress that vote. Or say, for instance, hey, everybody is included here, but then you see when we're not included.
Right.
That's kind of the way that you have to be able to see all this and take it all in and realize and give your own opinion and make your own decision about how you're going to vote here and there. It's not just the fact of understanding is like, okay, all these hearsay, what the people are talking about, but what is it really boiling down to when it comes down to your family, not just yourself, but your loved ones, your children, the generation, your children in their community who is going to be affected by this one way or the other.
That's right.
But that's the thing is, how many of us having these discussions with the family?
Yeah, we got to have conversations there, Dr. Shanor. This is the problem.
Right.
Nobody's talking. You're throwing your hand up. Oh man, what is this? What is the other? And I'm gonna throw in something else. I was on one of my other platforms. I believe it was Sunday. Was it Sunday? And it's called the Boomerang Radio Show, and we talk about this quite a bit because this is near and dear to me. And since I have this microphone, I'm going to use it. Okay. So we talk about things that are important to our families. We talk about things like mental health. You mentioned something else, Dr. Huff. We're going to get into that in a little bit. So we might stay a couple minutes over because I want to talk about your work in the mental health field too, because I believe, now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not joking about this. One of the main contributors, in my opinion, to mental illness or the decline in mental health here in this country is religion and politics. You got the preachers up there promising you stuff. You got the politicians promising you something, and nobody delivers. And you say, "Whoa, give my hands up!" And you wrap it around you. You've got this. Okay, I put my money. I put the light bill in the offering plate because I know I'm gonna be blessed when I get home. Wednesday come around, you still don't have any lights. I mean, so what I'm saying is that lies and deception has caused, to me, has contributed to the decline in mental health. I'm gonna have Dr. Shanor comment on that a little bit too, because when you start believing in something, and it doesn't come, okay, but you believed in this, you put your heart in this. You put your soul in it. Then your mind start playing tricks on you. Like, oh my God, I made the wrong decision again. And it could lead to some other things. It could lead to substance abuse. I know that could be a stretch, but is it really? Is it really? When people put their heart and soul in something only to be let down. It's almost like in a relationship. Okay, you've been in a relationship, you believed in this relationship, then that person that you believed in your heart and soul just stabbed you in the back or let you down. That causes a mental and physical reaction, folks. So what I'm saying is politics, religion. Now you've got good politicians out here. Okay, they might be few and far between, and you've got good preachers out here. Okay, but I'm telling you, you have some charlatans out there too. And these people will do anything to get your favor and to get your vote. One last thing before I toss it over to Dr. Shanor. And I'm going to say this to all three of you and to our audience, our global audience out here. We've had 46 presidents in this country, right? I mean, throughout the whole time that we've had presidents, it's been 46. The next president will be the 47th president. Am I right so far? The previous 46, they were all men. And you see how bad we screwed it up. Give a woman a chance.
That's what I'm saying.
Give a woman a chance.
But and love, and definitely for Sister Tiffany in the house tonight. Look, a lot has been done when it comes down to women, especially sisters, when it comes down to managing businesses, managing companies. I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, there was a not a swing sister, but at least a black woman who's running $1 trillion of money through stocks. If I can do research on that. Just, I remember hearing about that. But the idea of, that women can run businesses, women can run companies, women can run governments. Look at Mexico. Mexico just nominated a woman to run Mexico.
Yeah,
there have been very other countries as well.
That's Finland, right. In England, in Germany, the chancellor was Marco. Was it Marco?
Marco. In Germany, yes.
Absolutely. Guys, and we are so backwards here. This country is so chauvinist and racist. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, and they the country, not us personally, but as a whole, has always put down women. And who runs your doggone house? Who takes care of your children? Who manages the bills? Who cleans the place up? Who organizes the place? It's a woman. They can certainly run this country, folks.
Yes.
I'm serious, because I guess what? Our track record hasn't been that great, has it? It has not been that great. Oh man, it has not been that great. So yep, I'll vote for her in a heartbeat. And I'm gonna tell you what, that sentiment we just expressed, folks, that is true. I'm gonna tell you a real quick story, real quick. Well, I had a one of the when I was working years ago, my boss was a woman. I loved her, but we had some guys that didn't like her just because she was a woman, and they even said it. Man, she's a woman. I said, so what? She's great. But you have that sentiment with some men. They don't want women to run anything, yet women have behind the scenes running everything for a long time. Dr. Huck. Okay, I know there's a lot to unravel there, but let's talk about what you're doing with mental health as far as your work in mental health is concerned. And at what ages do you counsel, or do you do any counseling? Exactly. Give us an idea what you do.
Well, like once again, working in mental health facilities. I don't know if y'all have them in y'all state or whatever, but we have, like, you can call them like crisis center. They go in and they get admitted for maybe 1 or 2 weeks or whatever. And in that, I usually work as expressive therapist. I wasn't a licensed therapist or anything like that, but I was an expressive therapist. And basically what that means is I shared a lot of coping skills. And in the midst of sharing a lot of coping skills, you get an opportunity to hear a lot of people, issues, and things of that nature. You'd be like, wow, like you had to go back and share with the therapists, the doctors, and nurses, and things of that nature. But one thing I want to say, Philemon Brown, and to what you were saying a couple of minutes ago, I'm going to sum it up for you. And I share this with a lot of people. Our society is the biggest bully of them all.
Mm-hmm.
So just think about all what you said. So let's go back to you saying about educating our people for elections and things of that nature. And go back to what I said. Society, I'm going to put it like this, so I won't, step on anybody's toes. Society is the biggest bully of them all, and we have to take that serious. Because let me tell you why I feel this way. This is just my personal belief. Because you look at it, society tell you what kind of car you need to drive. Society tell you what kind of job you need to get to survive. Mm-hmm. Society tell your kids what kind of clothes they need. So that means society telling you what you need to go out there and get these kids. Because mm-hmm. if these kids don't have it, they're lacking. Somebody going to bully them. Mm-hmm. So that's what I say in a nutshell. Our society is the biggest bully of them all.
Mm-hmm. And it's a shame. And arrogant, extremely arrogant, and I something else. And our children, I don't think that we pay enough attention. We say we love our children, yet we don't do enough to take care of them as a society. There are several states, we talked about this earlier, that don't have lunch programs. And I'm talking about doing the regular school year. Yep. There is, I believe, I'm sorry, was it Tennessee? I'm not exactly sure. And there were a couple of other states where, in these particular cities, mm-hmm. the board struck down lunch programs for children, but they gave themselves a raise. Gave themselves a raise in the same breath. Practically. Yeah. The same breath, gave themselves a raise, but struck down lunch programs for children. And I agree with you, we're the biggest bully on the hill.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you something I found out years ago. Let's talk about is it autism. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Autism, I'm saying it right?
Right.
Let's speak about that. It is now more known about autism now in the last 6 years, 7 years, whatever,
or less.
Now people are speaking about it. Now you got grants for it. You got all this going on for it. Now, let's go to the reentry or let's go back to the prison system. Now, a lot of those people that was incarcerated had autism, but they didn't want to talk about it. They did not want to discuss it years ago. So let's just think about our population and our society now. Let's fast forward to now. Now we have these people out here. We have large crime rates and things of that nature. Where we say, oh, they just criminal minded. No, they had some type of mental illness, but they didn't want to discuss it.
Right.
And I mean, if y'all could look it up real quick, I think autism is pretty high for Black Americans. And let me just say people of color.
Right. And I forgot when this happened. I believe it was under Ronald Reagan. And I remember I was living in California, and he defunded the mental health program. The United States, the United States had a mental health program, and he defunded that, if not dismantled that. And a lot of very, very sick people were let out in the streets. Now, when you let people out in the street, what they're going to do? They're going to live, and they're also going to procreate.
Yes.
Okay. If you have sick people having children, some of this might trickle down to those children. It's going to be in their genes in some cases. Where you have sick people, and see, a lot of times you have two sick people getting together. You ever notice how a dysfunctional family is not only just one-sided? Both the man and woman crazy. Both of them crazy.
Yes.
All right. And both of you in need of mental health. How are you going to rear a child properly? And even if that child comes out normal, the environment that they're in is going to cause some problems.
Yes.
Okay, whether it's mental problems or whether it's economic problems. Okay, let's see. Tiffany did something here. Let's put this up, and we're going to address this. Tiffany, I'm going to let you jump in there. 2.9% for Black individuals and 3.2% for Hispanic individuals compared to 2.4% for white people. Autism. Well, autism, 2.4 doesn't sound like a lot of people, does it? But out of 350 million people, take 10% of that, 10% of 30, that's 35 million. Cut that in half. You're still looking at a ton of people.
Yeah.
10, 15 million people, or even more, that have this disease. I'm gonna just call it a disease. They have this. That could cause a lot of problems, folks. Okay.
And that's why you have so many people of color or whatever you want to call it,
right,
that are incarcerated because they didn't want to deal with that at that particular time. Now,
yep. And for them, that's the only way for them. I mean, they really. I mean, that's the path that maybe they didn't want to go down that path, or maybe they did, or maybe they just didn't care. And a lot of people have just given up, just like we talked about voting earlier. People have just given up. And then the problem there is they say, well, if I'm going out, I'm going to take somebody with me. Think about that. It only takes one gunman with an assault rifle to go and shoot up a school. All right. And if you think about 2.4, 2.9, 3.2 million, I mean, percent of the population that have some real serious conditions. Okay. Now, also, altruistic people, some are extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
Extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
Okay. But these people have to be diagnosed. And let's go beyond. Let's just talk about mental illness in itself, where someone might be depressed, clinically diagnosed as being depressed. Depression is a killer. Shanor, you know about this.
Yes, it's killer. A lot of people don't.
It's a killer, right?
Oh yes. Do you know how many? And I'm so serious. You know how many celebrities, NFL players? I'm just telling you. I've worked with so many people in that career form or whatever.
Right.
People. I have worked with millionaires easily, and they're at the facility saying, they got stressed, they got overwhelmed because we think because they have money,
Yeah.
we think that they're good to go, but it's a status. It's a status because they got to continue to keep that money to socialize with the people that they're socializing with, or to be able to send their kids to a certain school. They drive certain cars, and that's why I say society can be the biggest bully of them all because it dictates what we have to have.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think you're 100% on point there, because Tiffany and Robert, because someone has a lot of money, doesn't mean that they are happy people.
Oh, no.
It doesn't mean that at all. I recall a story going back, and it was this multimillionaire. She was famous for her designs, and I forgot, I believe it was clothing or something like that. Just a famous designer, multi-millionaire. And she had one or two small children. And the news came across the air one day, she committed suicide. And so you think us that have been struggling economically in our lives, okay? It's a lot of us, and including yours truly, have struggled economically before. But I never thought about committing suicide. Okay. And that's something, but you don't know what causes someone to do that. You have no idea unless you're in somebody else's head, somebody else's body. You don't know what they're going through. And you don't know how people are pushed to do things that you said, wow, they've got all of this. They got all the money they need, beautiful house. I mean, just a look on the outside. Robert, a perfect lifestyle. But then, you never know how they are struggling on the inside. And so stories like that will always put you back a little bit. How did that happen? Robert, any final comments? We've gone over just a little bit. We'll go around the panel, and we'll have Dr. Huff. He'll get the last word. Robert?
Yes, indeed. When it comes down to a lot of the stuff that we see in the world, some people only get a snippet. They might get 30 seconds, they might get 2 minutes, they might get 5 minutes, but they never really understand. Say, for instance, in the 5 minutes, they never see what the 23 hours and 55 minutes that went into that 5 minutes really were about. Or say, for instance, the 10 seconds, they never saw the 23 hours, the 59 minutes, and the 50 seconds that went into those 10 minutes. If you really saw that, you really didn't want to have to deal with that. Or say, for instance, with a lot of these various different snippets, when it comes down, it also boils down to what you see with this election. When it comes down to this, you don't see the behind the scenes.
That's right.
When it comes down to people promoting stuff, when they're saying that they're really great in their mindset, you really don't understand how much they really went through. They might have gone through a lot of struggles. They might have gone through a divorce. They might have gone through a loss. They might have gone through trepidation. They might have gone through a lot of stuff to just post to say, I'm fine.
That's right.
I'm good.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, you never know what somebody else has gone through. You're right. And just like we get on this set once a week for about an hour, depends on how, or 2 hours or whatever. Between 1 and 2 hours, sometimes 90 minutes. It just depends on the conversation. But the other 23 hours or the other 23 hours a day or 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that you go through, we see each other for about an hour each week. But every day, each one of us go through something. It may be the good, the bad, and the ugly. And like Robert said, you never know what someone else is going through, and it can get to the point that people are just stressed out. They're just stressed out. They're depressed. You say, well, how could that person be depressed? They have everything. But now, well, do they? Do they have peace of mind? You could have 10 million in the bank, $10 million in the bank, but if you don't have peace of mind, you might be a miserable person. Tiffany?
Yeah, I totally agree. Going back to what you were saying about mental health and whatnot, I also believe it depends on the company that a person keeps. You know what I'm saying? Because that has some effect on it as well. If you're around a certain group of people, whether it be good, you're gonna have them good positive thoughts, them good outcomes, versus the ones that are negative. You know what I'm saying? Doing something negative, always saying something negative. And if you're not strong enough, that's the route that you're going to end up taking. And that's what you're going to end up believing. People say, the saying goes, that you are what you believe. You know what I mean?
You are.
So the more you keep saying, man, I'm broke, I ain't got no money today. You might not have no money today, but you don't need to keep saying you broke.
You broke.
You know what I'm saying? Or somebody be like, man, what's wrong with you, man? I'm just depressed, man. I'm just depressed. Like, you know what I'm saying? That might be true in that moment, but you don't need to keep saying it, because
life
and death is in the power of the tongue. And you need to surround yourself around people that you want to be like, or that I'm not gonna say that, don't say that, because you might want to be like somebody and that ain't the right person to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You need to be around people that are doing really well. There are positive, outgoing people, you know what I'm saying? And when you were saying earlier, Shanor, about these millionaires coming in and they're saying they're depressed and whatever, again, I think it goes back to because money can change people. We already know that. I think that goes back to how humble you maintain yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking about Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn got out the game at a decent age, and Marshawn is just so chill. I never met him, but I seen him do interviews, and Marshawn is so, I want to say that's the right one. I know he got dressed, and he kind of like real like who did he play for? Was it Seattle?
The Seahawks. He was Seattle.
Yes, Seahawks. Yes, and he's so like laid back, like yo, and because he's like the money. He didn't worry about the money. You know what I'm saying? He was like what? You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to your mental health deals with a lot about the company you keep, the way that you think about yourself, the way that you take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because if you out here smoking every day or whatever, or you out here drinking, you know what I'm saying? Look, that's your business, do what you do or whatever. I myself, I ain't got to do none of that to have a good time, because I'm going by myself. You understand? But a lot of that does have a part in it as well, because of the stuff that's in it. It starts like, messing with your brain cells, the way that you think, the way that you comprehend stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It starts altering your thinking capabilities, and then therefore when your thinking capabilities are being altered, therefore your actions are now being altered. You can do something in a split second, you be like, I ain't even mean to do that. I don't even know what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't even me.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, you preaching tonight here, Tiffany. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I pick it back on Ms.
Yeah, please jump right on in.
I love what you say about the company that you keep, because let me tell you something. Majority of my company for years was my own family, not on my mom's side, not only on my mom's side and on my father's side, because of how they was raised. So certain things that I guess grew up around and kind of took onto or whatever is because of my upbringing. But like I said, there comes a time where you have to make those decisions. Okay, hey, these bad habits is just for the family. You can get away from that. And what I mean by that is love my family is on all sides. But for me and for my mental peace and everything, I had to cut them off. That was my crew for a long time. And I can honestly say that, and I have no regrets or anything or saying that. There are some friends that had to cut along the way, cut off the way. And it's okay. It's not that you don't love them any less or whatever. It's just that you're going one direction and they stay away in that area. And what you do is you pray for them. Another thing I have learned, even for myself, is because, like I said, I was diagnosed with anxiety. I don't mind sharing that. I was diagnosed with anxiety, and I refuse to let anybody make this situation even worse. So what I do is I take my time out, and I take time for self. So what I'm saying is, even let's go back to what you let's go back to what I say. Society says you have to do. Society says you have to do that, or the crew that you hang out with says you got to do this and that. What do you want to do for self? That's what we have to come to terms with, and that's even come out with the election, like you all said. If somebody said, well, this person is and this person that all this, no, do your own research, do your own homework, and make your own decision, because you got to sleep with you at nighttime, nobody else.
Yeah, that's 100%. And I couldn't agree with both of you more. You have to have a peace of mind. You can't be unsettled in your own mind and live a healthy lifestyle. Wow, this is been an enlightening conversation. Thank you. We only went over 20 minutes, but that's all right. I checked with the CEO. He said it was okay. But I want to thank each and every one of you. Dr. Huff, thank you and you have to come back. We're going to continue the conversation. And I wish you and your organization much success. If someone wants to get in contact with you, can they contribute to your society? Can they make donations? Can they get involved? Give us all the pertinent information we need for people who want to get involved.
Do you want me to put it in the inbox here, or just share it live?
You can do both. You can definitely do both. And matter of fact, while you're doing that, and I'm going to come back to you, Robert, any final thought? And then we'll go to Tiffany. Then we'll come back to Dr. Huff, and then he's going to tell how we can get in contact with him.
Yes, absolutely. It's important, as gentleman Dr. Huff said, take time for yourself. Mental health is definitely important, especially when it comes down to these days and times. That's number one. Number two, it takes 21 days to be able to form a habit. I say 21 days because it is 21 days until the 2024 presidential election. So you've got to get yourself in the mindset to say, all right, I'm going to go to the poll. Groove is going to be at the poll. Swings are going to be at the poll. You cannot stop us. The idea is hashtag our voice, our vote.
That's it.
And it should be your voice and your vote that matters in this upcoming election, because that vote is going to make sure that you are clear in your mind of what you're going to be doing. You have a clear conscience, making sure that your mental health, as well as the mental health of your generations, are going to be in place. That's what I got to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tiffany?
Yeah, I enjoyed tonight's conversation. It shines a light on, you taking the time out to really look at who you align with the most. Honestly, what you truly believe in, and granted, everything is not going to be for everybody. And, there are going to be some policies that you're not going to agree with whoever candidate. You're not going to 100% agree with everything. That's just, that's just being honest about it. But even though it's not 100% in agreement, okay, which one looks more like me? Which one am I trying to be more like? You know what I'm saying? So just take the time out to do your thorough research, starting from the local officials on up. And I'm putting a foot in my own mouth because I got to do that as well. And also with the mental health piece, I would say, understand that spirituality is not for everybody. It can be for you if it's for you. make sure you get grounded and you really do take some time for yourself and you spend quality time with positive, like-minded people.
Mhm.
Don't try to be around the people that you think is cool in that moment, because honey, that's just gonna be for that moment. You gotta 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and be like, okay, I see how they see what they doing. Okay, how do they do this? How do they, you know what I'm saying? And just, it's going to come with some changes. Life is all about evolving. It's about improving. It's not about staying the same. There's no way in the world that you should be the same person that you were 3 years ago.
That's right.
You know
Period.
what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's just my 69 cents. And I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, we certainly appreciate your 69 cents here because you make a lot of great points. And folks, do like Tiffany said earlier, do what's best for your family.
Yes. If I might say, Tiffany, that's just not 69 cents. That's $19.69.
I like the value, brother. I like it. I take it. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, let's do a million copies of that.
Mhm.
Let's see, that's 19. Okay, all right. Anyway, but the money, folks. Hey, thank you so much. And now, Dr. Huff, we put up a lot of information there. You can go over some of it if you will. I'm going to put this one on the screen right there. Tell us a little bit about brothersaboutbusiness@gmail.com. That's your email address.
Yes.
Okay.
And then that's my website, brothersbb.com. That's my website. Cash App, if you would love to make a donation or whatever, is money sign, of course, Brothers 2006. And then Zelle, it's the same email. You can put it out there, brothersaboutbusiness@gmail.com if you want to do Zelle as far as, make a donation to the organization. And I am willing to give out receipts, letters, anything that you need for verification. I know tax season is coming up and a lot of people need to make donation. Please make it to the right person, whether it be my organization or someone else. Real quick, on November the 9th, I will be in Valdosta, Georgia. And we will be out there. It's called BX3 Community Care Day. We will be out there. We will have prizes, free food, health screening, healthcare information, and mental health awareness as well. We have the local DJ there for the radio personality is AP. We also going to have the firefighters from Valdosta. Firefighters going to be there. We're going to have Red Cross out there. We're going to have, what is it, NAMI or NAMI? I can't never get the acronyms right for the mental health organization. Is it NAMI? NAMI? Do y'all know?
I don't know. I don't know.
NAMI, I don't know what it's going to be out there. They're going to be out there as well. So this is actually
what's the acronym?
NAMI. It's NAMI, something like NAMI, something like that. It's a mental.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's something like that. But they're going to be out there as well, and we're going to go out there. We're going to help the masses out in a particular area. It's Scott Park area, because they got hit bad from the storm. It's Helena storm. They got
Milton as well.
Right. And how many years have you been doing this, Dr. Huff?
Actually, this is my second year actually going out there. So I'm excited this year. When I had planted this before the storm and everything, and the great thing I like about it is I had a lot of more support. I got a lot more support after Helena, and so this is a good thing. But I would love for the brothers and sisters to be most definitely involved in this. This is a great opportunity, a great community service effort for some of you all. It's really something. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love for brothers and sisters to be out there that day. I know since there's a homecoming coming about or whatever, but I would love to see a lot of brothers and sisters out there. If not, tell you about your family, friends, or whomever to come out. We're really out there to get our hands dirty. We love the community. Brothers About Business love getting out there, getting our hands dirty.
And that's what it's all about. And we appreciate everything that you do. Much success to you, Brother Huff. And you've got to come back on with us on Groove Swing Speaks one Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. And ladies and gentlemen, keep it locked right here, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have several programs Brother Robert, he listens to all of our music programs as well. And let's see, tomorrow we've got cultural excellence. Cultural excellence. As a matter of fact, I had started this song. I was just joking. Vicky Baker, she's going to be on Cultural Excellence. That is a week from tomorrow, a week from now. You don't want to miss Vicky Baker. As a matter of fact, she's in Georgia. What part of Georgia? I forgot what part of Georgia she's